Everybody benefits off our fight. We got to stop being the spokesperson, the spoke group of people who we sacrifice ourselves for them to benefit. And when they get it, they don't know you. And for the love of God, can y'all stop saying that Donald Trump is dividing people of colors? That is bullshit. We've been divided before Donald Trump even ran for office. Stop using that as a scapegoat and as an excuse. We've been divided. And the mere fact that you're saying that we're divided, you knew that we were divided before then, but you're just now saying something now because it affects you. And miss me with the comments, you next. No, we first. You think we scared? We first. That's all I had to say, y'all. Black people, we got to stop doing that. We got to stop sacrificing ourselves for everybody else to have the benefit of it, because they do not reciprocate that energy for us.
Hello guys, and welcome to the Joy Report. Happy Black History Month to my fellow Black people. In today's video, we are going to talk about how Black Americans warned MAGA Arabs about Trump. It's a crazy situation. On one hand, you have Donald Trump openly telling Netanyahu to finish off Gaza. On the other, you have Arabs in Dearborn, Michigan endorsing him just months ago. You really can't make this thing up. Many Arab Americans, particularly Palestinian supporters, threw their weight behind Trump in 2024, believing he would push for a ceasefire in Gaza. Now, they're watching in shock as he shifts his stance and talks about taking over Gaza and relocating Palestinians. But here's the thing. Black Americans saw this thing coming a mile away, and they tried to warn them, but they just didn't listen. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing so that YouTube can recommend it to a wider audience. And so without further ado, guys, let's go straight into this video. But first, let's play a few clips on this matter, and I'll come back with my commentary.
If you don't want to vote for Jill, vote for Donald Trump. But do not give a vote to Kamala Harris and expect to be welcomed by my community.
Palestine is central for some voters to decide how to cast their vote in the polling booth. But with war raging in the Middle East, can Kamala Harris convince some of them to back her campaign?
Do either of the candidates have a voice that you can ally yourself with?
And none of the major candidates, absolutely not. They're both the same.
She says words such as self-determination, and too many Palestinian lives have been lost, as if there is a number that's acceptable. And I don't understand how my people's lives are lost, as if they can't be found, instead of them being deliberately targeted by the very weapons that she continues to fund and to send.
To all of you who are blaming us Arabs for Kamala losing, I'll tell you this. Kamala had everything already. All she had to do was stop sending billions of dollars to a foreign country. All she had to do was listen to the people, and she refused to do so. She shut down our voices time and time again. What did you think was going to happen? She's a grown woman. She made her choice, and she dug her own grave, and that's it. It has nothing to do with us. Particularly Palestinian voices were even talking about not endorsing the red and blue parties. And what do? Some of you? You vote for the parties that are hurting them in the first place. Did Palestine teach you nothing? Or do you just not care about them?
To make one thing very, very, very clear. We are going to do everything in our power to make sure Kamala Harris doesn't win. Vote for, if you want Donald Trump to win, say that. Bitch, I will vote for Satan if I have to. Remember, no one's free until we're all free. And we can't protect ourselves if we can't protect each other. This is the time for all the minorities, all the movements, all the working class to come together and really build power and really fight against the fascism that's been here, but finally popping its head out and being loud and proud about it. And unless we do something, really come together, it's gonna get real bad.
I came home the day I met Trump, and I gave my son a MAGA hat, and I said, I guess we're there. And he said, ew. His first words to me were, ew. I said, but Baba, he said he's gonna stop the war. And he said, okay, that's it. Give me that hat. we're voting for Trump. And that's the sentiment, not just of an 8-year-old, but of an entire community. If you're going to stop the war, even if I don't like you, I'm on your team.
There's an argument to say that if the Arab American, Muslim American voter base in Michigan doesn't turn out for Harris, that could create a path to a Trump presidency. How does that make you feel?
You know, it doesn't make me feel any way. I think that the Democratic Party should be punished for supporting this genocide. And I know that a lot of people will vote for Trump because they want to punish the Democratic Party because, you know, especially in Dearborn voted Democrat the last election, and it's been a disappointment to the people. The Democrats did nothing but let down the Arab American and Muslim American population. They did not listen. They are not listening to what we want, what we're saying. We've been, you know, protesting the streets all over the United States, and Kamala Harris removed a Muslim from, you know, her rally, and I just think that, you know, she should be punished. The Democratic Party should be punished.
So, as you've seen from the clips, many Arabs and Muslims alike were so pro-Trump. I mean, did they forget the Muslim ban? It's wild that anyone thought Trump would be a friend to Arabs. Have they forgotten that one of the first things he did in office was impose the Muslim ban? Back in 2017, he blocked travelers from several Muslim-majority countries, making it clear that Muslims were not welcome in his version of America. That should have been enough proof that he was never on their side. But somehow, in 2024, some Arabs still decided to back him. Why? Because he made a flashy campaign promise about ending the war in Gaza. Now, they're realizing that was just another one of his lies. Now, Palestinians who voted for Trump literally voted to end Palestine. Some Palestinian Americans believed that Trump would be their guy. They thought he would step in and negotiate peace. But let's be real. Trump has been one of the most pro-Israel presidents in US history. He moved the US embassy to Jerusalem, recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, and pushed for the Abraham Accords, which benefited Israel more than Palestine. So what did they think would happen? Now, he's talking about taking full control of Gaza and pushing Palestinians out. The very people who voted for him are watching their homeland disappear. If there's one thing Black Americans know well, it's how politicians use minority groups for votes and then discard them once they're in power. They've seen it time and time again. They warned MAGA Arabs that Trump's promises meant nothing. Black voters in 2020 saw through his so-called Platinum Plan for Black America, which was nothing more than a political stunt to get their votes. They knew he had no real intention of following through. And guess what? He did the exact same thing with the ceasefire promise to Arabs. He dangled hope in front of them, got their votes, and is now betraying them. Black voters knew better than to trust Trump's fake promises, telling Black people that he would fix the economy for them, bring jobs to their communities, invest in Black businesses. It was all talk, just like how he told MAGA Arabs he'd bring a ceasefire. Those who believed in him are feeling betrayed. But the truth is, Trump never cared about any of these communities. He just knew how to play the game to win votes. Some pro-Palestinian activists tried to guilt-trip Black Americans by saying if they voted Democrat, they're supporting genocide. That's just not true. Black people have never supported genocide. They've always stood against oppression. But trying to manipulate them into aligning with a political movement without acknowledging their own struggles, that's not okay. You can't just demand solidarity while ignoring the ways anti-Blackness exists in your own communities. Here's another thing. Some Palestinians act like Black Americans owe them endless support, but let's not forget that racial segregation exists in Palestine. Black Palestinians are often treated as second-class citizens. So while many Black Americans have stood beside Palestine, the question is, when has Palestine ever stood beside them? The same people calling for Black support now have rarely shown up when Black people needed solidarity. At the end of the day, Black people in America have every right to put themselves first, especially Black women, who are constantly at the forefront of every fight for justice, yet rarely get the same support in return. The pro-Palestine movement needs to have an honest conversation about the anti-Blackness in the Arab world. If they want true solidarity, it can't just be about asking Black people for help when it's convenient. There has to be real work done to address anti-Black attitudes and create genuine mutual support.
The topic of solidarity between Black folks and Palestinians has existed since the inception of the State of Israel and the Nakba, and the issue of Black and Palestinian liberation not only mirror each other but are inextricably linked in their histories. Support for the freedom of Palestinians has been an element of the Black Panther Party, of the Black Lives Matter movement, of the ending of apartheid in South Africa. Nelson Mandela, after his release from prison in 1990, embraced Yasser Arafat. In 1997, he said, "We know our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of Palestinians." In the 1950s, Malcolm X was one of the first Black Americans to show support for the Palestinian cause and said Black Americans would show complete sympathy with the Arab cause. Several months before his assassination, he visited the Gaza Strip and was completely critical of Israel. The Black Panther Party considered Black Americans to be internally colonized and stated that Black Americans and Palestinians were essentially treated as third world peoples who were oppressed by colonialism and imperialism together. In more recent history, in 2014, in the Ferguson Uprising, Palestinians online showed support, expressed solidarity, and offered advice to protesters in Ferguson. And there were chants that gained prominence at this time. From Ferguson to Palestine, occupation is a crime. These liberation movements have been linked for decades. And this is one of the first times that we're seeing such a divide where we're being told that our values don't align with one another, and that is not the case.
Look, it's not that Black Americans don't feel for Palestinians. Many of them understand oppression and colonialism all too well. They know what it's like to have history erased, to be displaced, and to fight against systems designed to keep them down. So yes, they empathize with the suffering in Gaza, but at the same time, it is not Black people's responsibility to fight every battle, especially when historically, Black struggles have often been overlooked or dismissed by the same communities asking for their help now. MAGA Arabs made their choice. They believed Trump when he said he'd deliver a ceasefire. They ignored his long history of Islamophobia and racism. Now, they are watching the consequences unfold in real time. It's unfortunate, but it's a lesson in political reality. Trump was never on their side, and Black Americans saw it from the start. Moving forward, if true solidarity is to exist, it has to go both ways. Otherwise, Black people have every right to look out for themselves first. And that's just the truth. Otherwise, that's it from me. What is your opinion on this matter? Please drop a comment on the comment section below and let's keep the discussion going. Also, if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing, liking and sharing because it helps me grow my channel. I also have another video on Latino voters and their regrets for voting for Trump. So if you like such content, please click up here and enjoy. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, the Joy Report out.